There comes a moment in every man's life when fear finally forces him to stop running. A moment when the heart feels heavy, the breath tightens, and the world around him presses in from every side. A moment when he realizes that fear is not an enemy outside of him, but a shadow he has carried inside for years. Fear doesn't shout. Fear whispers. It whispers failure. It whispers doubt. It whispers that you are not enough, not ready, not strong enough to face what is coming. It whispers that the future will destroy you, that people will judge you, that God has forgotten you. And yet the same fear doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. Fear makes you hesitate at the doors God opened for you. Fear turns your purpose into paralysis. Fear steals your destiny one silent moment at a time. But here is the truth you were never taught. Fear grows when you focus on what you cannot control. Strength grows when you trust God and master what you can. Fear nothing. Trust God. Control yourself. Stay with me until the end, because this message may be the turning point of your life. If this resonates with your soul, do the quiet act of courage. Subscribe, like, and comment. Not for the algorithm, but because a message like this must reach the man who is breaking silently tonight. Let us begin. The core idea. Fear nothing because God is greater than what you face. Stoicism teaches discipline, reason, and responsibility. The Bible teaches faith, surrender, and divine strength. Together they create a man who cannot be broken. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was not saying that obstacles are good by themselves. He meant this: the thing you fear is often the very thing that leads you to your destiny. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free," not because fear disappears, but because courage rises higher than fear. Epictetus taught, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," meaning that fear is most powerful before anything even happens. But the Bible gives the ultimate anchor, words that have carried men through war, betrayal, loss, and darkness. "Do not fear, for I am with you." Isaiah 41:10. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Psalm 23. God does not promise the absence of storms. He promises His presence inside them. Fear nothing, because you are not alone. Control yourself, because that is the part God gave you authority over. Story 1. The man who feared failure until it broke him. Let me tell you about David. David grew up with expectations on his shoulders, parents who demanded perfection, teachers who measured him with comparisons, friends who mocked every mistake. So David learned that failure was deadly. He avoided risks, avoided challenges, avoided anything that might reveal that he was merely human. He built a life completely shaped by fear. Every opportunity that came his way, he rejected it. Not because he didn't want it, because he feared he would not be good enough for it. And the world rewarded his fear with safety, the safety of a small life. One day, during a company presentation, his boss humiliated him in front of everyone. The room laughed. David froze. His fear suffocated him. That night, he read the words of Epictetus. "How long will you delay to demand of yourself noble deeds?" And then he opened his Bible and read, "God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." For the first time, he saw the truth. His fear was not protection, it was disobedience. He was obeying fear more than he obeyed God. He chose that night to stop letting fear define him, not by fighting fear directly, but by controlling what he could: his breath, his reactions, his habits, his mindset, his faith. And little by little, Fear lost its power. Now let me tell you about Anna. Anna was strong, hardworking, talented, but one weakness destroyed her peace. She feared people's opinions. One negative comment could ruin her entire day. One sarcastic remark could make her doubt her entire existence. She lived with a constant ache, the ache of trying to please everyone. Her fear of judgment became a prison. She tolerated disrespect. She ignored her dreams. She stayed in a relationship that drained her because she feared being alone. One night, overwhelmed after an argument, she opened the Bible and read, "The fear of man brings a snare." Proverbs 29:25. A trap, a cage, a snare. She realized she had chained herself to the opinions of people who did not even love her. She paired that truth with Marcus Aurelius' words, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Fear doesn't come from what people think. Fear comes from the value you give to their thoughts. That night she prayed, "God, give me the courage to let go of the voices that were never meant to guide me." And slowly, she began to live again. The formula of freedom: trust God plus. Control yourself. There are two forces shaping your life: God's sovereignty, what He controls; your discipline, what you control. Fear appears when you try to control God's part while neglecting your own. You cannot control what people say. You cannot control the future. You cannot control the past. You cannot control outcomes. You cannot control timing. But you can control your breath, your thoughts, your reactions, your discipline, your habits, your attitude, your words, your focus, your prayer, your choices, and that is enough. Fear loses its power the moment you shift your attention from the uncontrollable to the controllable. The Stoics call it reason. The Bible calls it faith. Together, they create a man who stands firm while the world falls apart. 10 Stoic biblical practices to destroy fear and master self-control. Here are 10 practices that will rewire your mind and rebuild your strength. Control your breath, not the situation. Slow breathing is the first victory over fear. Pray before reacting. Jesus often withdrew to pray before major decisions. Expose your fears to the light. Write them down. Fear grows in secrecy, but dies in truth. Accept that suffering is part of growth. Marcus Aurelius. The obstacle becomes the way. Speak scripture to your fear. Fear not, for I am with you. Limit your exposure to chaotic people. Peace is a choice. Protect it. Interrupt fearful thoughts with action. Action kills fear faster than reassurance. Detach from the results. Epictetus. Some things are in our control, others are not. Build routines stronger than your emotions. Discipline creates stability when fear shakes you. Trust God with what you cannot control. You were never meant to carry the universe on your shoulders. Conclusion. The call to fear. Nothing. Fear will knock on your door again. Fear will whisper again. Fear will try to paralyze you again. But now you know the truth. God is greater than what you fear, and discipline is stronger than the fear inside you. Fear nothing. Trust God. Control yourself. You are stronger than you think, and God is closer than you feel. Write in the comments, "We act together, brothers." May God preserve you. Trust in Him, and He will act.